Zane Tankel, of course, of I believe Metro fame, of course, the great restaurant chain and much more. But the reason why I had Zane on, he brought something to my attention that I thought was rather interesting and illustrative of sometimes the hypocrisy in Washington. Many on the left who argue for a $15 minimum wage. In fact, a lot of them are pushing for that today in protest for the May Day events. But when it comes to liberals on Capitol Hill, not so much with their own staff, not so much with their own interns. Many of them aren't paid a penny. And Zane, you noticed that and just said, wait a minute, it's a little odd, right?
I did. And they don't have to compete with anyone. They don't have to be in the marketplace. And here they pay their folks nothing. But the private sector, they urge and push to pay $15.
I don't even think that was legal anymore. But I guess in Washington, but oddly enough, Bernie Sanders is the closest to being true to his
he's
words.
only 20% off, Neil. He's only 20%.
So he pays his interns $12 an hour.
About $12, right.
And the others don't pay at all?
Some do, some don't. None of them advertise. They say stipend. You get a stipend. Right. So you get to be the honor. You get the honor of working for one of these guys.
Well, that's a big thing.
Well, I suppose it is, but not when they. I say you get an honor to work at Applebee's because we start you on your station in life. You move forward, you're able to start, you wake up in the morning, you learn how to talk to people, you get an internship, if you will.
But it looks impressive on the resume, right? I mean, and that's the idea with a lot of these unpaying internships. Sure. Like, for example, I was an intern, hate to brag, but I was, at the White House, when Jimmy Carter was president.
Yes, I know.
Now, unfortunately, not that that was a bad thing, since I didn't get paid, I had to work as a waiter. And for any of my customers, they'd come back to tell you that was a horrific experience. I'd screw up their meals. But I needed to get paid. And there are a lot of people, that's a tough call, right?
And they solicit those folks. They solicit the college students. They can solicit the folks.
But there are a lot of
really
poor kids who have to pass up opportunities like that. So shouldn't we pay them?
You know, Neil, it's always the most vulnerable and the people that need it the most that get, with the ideologues, the damage. They really do.
So it's hypocritical of some of these liberals who have been demanding companies like yours hike your minimum wage to $15 to then not pay their own interns anything or well under that.
There's only two ways you pay for it, Neil. You raise your prices, which the consumer is not going to do anymore, or you don't hire the same number of people you ordinarily will.
What have you done? Obviously, you're getting no shortage of people still going to your restaurant.
Correct.
So what have you done to adjust?
I, too, am an ideologue on the opposite end of their street. I'm concerned about people, our people very specifically, but the most vulnerable people that are out there. So the CBO, as you well know, says that about 500 to 750,000 people will be out of work with this continuing. And we have data that supports it. Seattle, Washington, that was the first ones that restaurants have abandoned.
Have you cut back on people? I guess it depends on the market, right?
Neil, minimum wage is technology's best friend. Yes, we have. We've put tablets on the table. We let people order and scroll down. You can pay with a swipe of a card at your table. And we've reduced our labor force through attrition. No one was fired, but through attrition of about 25% since all this began. Don't forget, the New York City raised the servers 50%. The inimitable Mayor de Blasio, right? He raised, and the governor raised a server from $5 to $7.50. Who suffered for that? The servers. We were forced to put technology. And
you were open, I remember at the time, to a higher minimum wage, just bringing it to 15, wasn't it? But the reason why this sticks in my craw a little bit is the hypocrisy of it. The very same people who are saying you should do this, you should do that, when they have the power to do it with their own staffs and their own people, they don't.
When Senator Patrick Leahy was piqued as to why or what exactly is paying his interns, his assistant hung up the phone on the reporter. Cory Booker.
But at least he's paying him something, right? I mean,
we don't know. They hung up, and we don't know.
Maybe that was his view.
No, but Neil, the reality is we don't know. They don't advertise on their websites that they pay.
They're hypocrites, and it's the same people who say, you know, we don't want to see our taxes cut, but they never give additional taxes in that event.
It's inconceivable that someone would advocate everybody else pay, but I don't.
Yeah, you're right about that.
But that's reality.
Yeah, which is why I always tell people, I'm never going to give you dietary advice. I'm never going to tell you to eat a salad. You just don't go there, right?
That's it, Neil.
All right, Zane, thank you very, very much.